Morning, Balangoto. Morning, Robert, Diana, Amy. Morning, Reed. All right, I think we have enough people to get started. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddhang saranang gacchami. Dhammang saranang gacchami. Sanghang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Dutiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi buddhang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammang saranang gacchami. Tatiyampi sanghang saranang gacchami. Tisarana-gamanang sampunang panatipata veramani sikkapadang samadhiyami. Adinadana veramani sikkapadang samadhiyami. Kame sumicchachara veramani sikkapadang samadhiyami. Musavada veramani sikkapadang samadhiyami. Sura Merya Majjapamadhatthana Veramani Sikkapadang Samadhiyami. Disaranena Zadding Panchasilang Dhammang Samadhiyatva Sadhukang Surakatang Katva Appamadena Sampadeta Bang. Silena Sugating Yanti, Silena Bhoga Sampada, Silena Nibbuting Yanti, Tasma Silang Visodaye. All right, let's get started with our daily chanting on page 23. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Oh boy, we have an explosion of hellos that I didn't see. Morning, Rose, John, and Spice. We'll continue on. Iti piso bhagava arahang samma sambuddho vidya charana sampano sugato lokanidu anuttaro purisa dhammasarati satta deva manusanang buddho bhagavati svakato bhagavata dhammo sandittiko akaliko ehipassiko opanayako pacchatang vedittabbo vinyuhiti supatipanno bhagavato savaka sango Ujupatipanno bhagavato savaka sango nyayapatipanno bhagavato savaka sango samicipatipanno bhagavato savaka sango yadidang chattari purissa yugani atta purissa puggala esa bhagavato savaka sango Ahuneyo, Pahuneyo, Dakineyo, Anjali Karaniyo, Anuttarang Punya Ketang Lokasati. Buddho Susuddho Karuna Mahannavo Yo Chanta Suddha Baranyana Lochano. Lokassa Papu Pakilesa Gatako Vandami Buddhang. Ahamadarena tang Namo te purisa janya Namo te purisuttama Sadeva kasming lo kasming Nattite patipuggalo Dhammo padipo viyatassu sattuno Yo maggapaka matabheda binnako Lokuttaro yo chadaratta dipano vandami sangang ahamadarena tang yo chadammam abinyaya dhammam anyaya pandito rahadova nivato chane jovu pasammati ye sang dhamma asamutta parvade sunaniyare Te sambuddha sammadanya charanti vasame samang ye kechyo sadha loke vidjanti vividha bahu dhammo sada samannati etang pivita bhikkavo dhammo sadang pivitvana hajara maranasiyung bhavayitva chapasitva nibbutta upadikkaye Sango suketta vyatiketti sannito yo ditta santo sugatana bodhako Lolapahino ariyo sumedaso vandami sangang ahamadarena tang Suko buddhana muppado sukha sadhamma desana Sukha sangassa sammaggi samagganang taposuko Pahungve saranang yanti pabbatani vanani cha arammarukka chatyani manussa bayatajjita netang ko saranang kemang netang saranang uttamang netang saranang agamma sabbadukka pamucchati yo cha buddhang cha dhamman cha sanghang cha saranang gato Chattari ariya satchani samappanyaya passati Dukkam dukkha samuppadang dukkhassa cha atikkamang Aryanchitangikam maggam dukkupasamagaminang Etang ko saranang kemang Etang saranang uttamang Etang saranang agamma sabbadukka pamucchati Himaya dhamma nudhamma patipattiya buddhang pujemi Himaya Dhamma Nudhamma Patipattiya Dhammang Pujemi. Himaya Dhamma Nudhamma Patipattiya Sanghang Pujemi. Mano Pubangama Dhamma Mano Setta Manomaya. Manasa Che Paduttena Bhasativa Karotiva. Tato nang dukkam anveti chakkang vavahato padang. Mano pubangama dhamma mano setta manomaya. Manasa che pasannena bhasati va karoti va. Tato nang sukham anveti chaya va anapayani. Anicca vata sankhara upada vayadhamino. Upajitva nirujjanti te sanghu pasumo sukho sabba papassa akaranang kusalassa upasampada satchitta paryodapanang etang buddhana sasanang kanti paramang tapo tittika nibbanang paramang vadanti buddha nahi pabbajito parupaghati samano hoti parang vihete yanto Anupavado anupagato patimokke cha sangvaro mattanyuta cha bhattasming pantang cha sayanasanang arichitta chitte cha ayogo etang buddhana sasanang Imina punya kammena upajjaya gunuttara Acharyupakara cha mata pita piya mamang Suryo Chandimaraja gunavanta nirapicha Brahma mara cha inda cha lokapala cha devata Yamo mitta manussa cha majjhatta verika picha Sabbe satta sukhi hontu punyani pakatani me Sukhang chatividhang dentu kepang papetu vomatang Imena punya kammena imena udasena cha Kepahang sulabhe cheva tan upadana chedanang Ye santane hina dhamma yava nibbana tomamang Na santu sabbada yeva yatta jato bhave bhave Ujuchitto satipanyo sale ko virayavamino Mara labantuno kasang kattun cha viryesume Buddha di pavaro nato dhammo nato varuttamo Nato pachekka sambuddho sangho nato taro mamang Teso tamanubhavena maro kasang labantuma Imina punya kammena mame bala samagamo Satang samagamo hotu yava nibbana pattiya Dukkha patta chane dukkha bhaya patta chane bhaya Soka patta chane soka hontu sabbe pipaniyo Bhavagupadaya avichihattato etantare sattakayu papanna Rupi arupi cha asanya sanya no dukkha pamucchantu pusantu nibbuting Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. All right. Continuing on. Final page of the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, page 117. Still, the cry of the devas is still rising ever higher. Tusitanang devanang saddang sutva nima narati deva saddha manusave sung etang bhagavata varanasiyang esipatane megadaye anuttarang dhammacakkang pavattitang apattivattiyang samanena va brahmanena va devena va marena va brahmuna va kenachi va lokasminti nimanaratinang devanang saddang sutva paranamitta tassa Paranimittava Savattino Deva Saddamanusa Vesum Etang Bhagavata Bharanasayang Isipatane Megadaye Yanuttarang Dhammachakang Pavititang Apativatiyang Samanena Va Brahmanena Va Devena Va Marena Va Brahmuna Va Kenachi Va Lokasminti Paranimitta Vasavatinang Devanang Sadang Sutva Brahmakayika Deva Saddamanusa Vesung Etang Bhagavata Bharanasayang Esipatane Megadaye Anuttarang Dhammachakang Pavatitang Apatittavatiyang Samanava Brahmanena Va Vadevena Va Marena Va Brahmunava Kenechiva Lukasminti Itiha tena kanena tena lanena tena muttena yava brahmaloka saddo abhuganchi hayang chadassa sahasi lokadatu sankapi sampakampi sampavedi appamano cha ularo ubhaso loke Patura hosi yatikama devanang devanubhavanti atako bhagavad udanang udanesi anyasi vatabo kandanyo anyasi vatabo kandanyoti iti hidang ayasmato kondanyasya anya kondanyo tveva namang wahositi. All right, now English. Having heard the cry of the Tusita Devas, the Nima-Narati Devas raised the cry. At Varanasi, in the deer park at Isipatana, this unsurpassed wheel of the Dhamma has been set in motion by the Sublime One, which cannot be stopped by any ascetic or Brahmin, or Deva or Mara or Brahma or anyone in the world. Having heard the cry of the Nimma Narati Devas, the Paranimitta Vasavati Devas raised a cry. At Varanasi in the deer park at Isipatana, this unsurpassed wheel of Dhamma has been set in motion by the Sublime One, which cannot be stopped by any ascetic or Brahmin or Deva or Mara or Brahma or by anyone in the world. Having heard the cry of the Paranimitta Vasavati Devas, the Devas of the Brahma's company raised the cry. At Varanasi in the deer park at Isipatana, this unsurpassed wheel of Dhamma has been set in motion by the Sublime One, which cannot be stopped by any ascetic or Brahmin or Deva or Mara or Brahma or by anyone in the world. Thus, at that moment, at that instant, at that second, the cry spread as far as the Brahma world, and this 10,000-fold world system shook, quaked, and trembled, and an immeasurable glorious radiance appeared in the world, surpassing the divine majesty of the Devas. Then the Sublime One uttered this inspired utterance. Kondanya has indeed understood. Kondanya has indeed understood. In this way, Venerable Kandanya acquired the name Anya Kandanya, Kandanya who has understood. All right, so that ends the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta. I think we'll continue on to the next page tomorrow. We'll do the Anattalakkhana Sutta, because I don't know if we've chanted that one yet. We've chanted almost all the long suttas in our book so far. Almost all of them in the 4 months that I've been doing this. Right about 4 months, 3.5. So we've done a lot. We've gone through a lot of chanting. All right, so now, thought of the day. Continuing with Ratapala Gata, the Ratapala verses. We're on page 81. And we're doing the two middle quatrains. I think we are. Just let me check here. Yes, yeah. All right. Upeti gabhang cha parang cha lokang samsarang apajja paramparaya tasappapanyo abhisaddatanto upeti gabbang cha parang cha lokang choro yatta sandimukke gahito sakkamana anyati papadammo evang paja pecha parami loke sakkamana hanyati papadammo. All right. Okay, so as one goes to the womb, to the next world, remember before Ratapala was explaining how, how the person dies, they can't take anybody with them, right? You can't take your riches, your family, spouse, children, etc. You can't take anybody with you, right? And so he's continuing on with this line of thought. As one goes to the womb and to the next world, renewing the successive rounds of birth, another of little wisdom, trusting him, goes also to the womb and to the next world. You remember yesterday it says we ended with better is wisdom than any wealth. Of all the wealth that you can have in this life, wisdom is the greatest. Why? Because we suffer less. Right? So he's continuing to talk about the fool here, right? The foolish people basically follow each other into the next world. Okay? Just as a robber caught in a burglary is made to suffer for his evil deeds, so people after death in the next world are made to suffer for their evil deeds. Right? So he's continuing to kind of go through this explanation of why it's actually not that great of a thing to just hang out and enjoy sensual pleasures and not practice Dhamma, because this is what you're subject to, right? This is because when you're foolish, you do stupid things, right? And you create bad karma, and you have to, experience the result of that karma, right? But if you're wise and you do good karma, if you create good karma, then the vipaka, the fruit of that karma, will also be good, will be skillful, right? So, these very wise words from a young monk who's been gone now for 20 some odd 100 years, but really kind of pointing to what's important, pointing towards the origin, right? This is another reason why we want to surround ourselves with Kalyana Mittas, right? Why we don't want to be around foolish people. Why? Because we'll follow them. If we're around foolish people, we're going to follow them down their foolish ways as well, right? We want to be around wise people, right? We want to have wise Kalyana Mittas, and we want to emulate wise people. We don't want to emulate foolish people, right? Because we can see in this very life how the people that are very unskillful and act unskillfully, they end up having lots of problems in their life, right? That's not to say that you can still be a perfect saint and still have plenty of problems, but I think at least in my experience, the more skillful you are, the more wise you act in the world, the more you act for your benefit and the benefit of others, the less problems you do have. Or at least the problems you do have are just don't affect you as much. You don't suffer from them as much, right? So this is a very important understanding for us to reflect on, right? That to make sure that we have good kalyanamitas and that we practice well, and so that we can essentially experience the good results of our good actions. Right? This is a very important thing, right? Because within this context of Buddhism, there's lots of different places that we can be reborn into, and places like hells and heavens and things like that. And so the Buddha always encourages people, at the very least, if you're not going to shoot for awakening, at least try to shoot for heaven, because it's still way better than going to the hells, right? So. And it also, not only that, but it also is beneficial in this very life because of how beneficial you live for yourself and others. How you help yourself and others is so much more wise and skillful for all of us. You can't fix samsara, but you can at least try to make things a little better while you're still stuck in it, right? So, all right, friends, I think we can reflect on that for today. And I wish you a very spiritually successful and peaceful day. Sukhi Hotu, may you be happy. Practice well and be well. So we have, today's Wednesday, right? No, today's Wednesday. So we have, for this morning session, the next 2 days, I'm still at the Vihara. This weekend, Saturday morning, I'm going to be leaving the Vihara, and it is quite possible at this point that Sunday afternoon I'll be at the farm in West Virginia. I wasn't expecting to have such quick turnover, but it looks like that's what's probably going to happen. And so hopefully I'm going to try to shoot for Monday, to get back, so the weekend, no chanting, and then we'll try to shoot for Monday morning. I don't know if 8 o'clock would be best. I don't know if anybody feels it'd be worse if maybe we started like a half hour earlier. That might be better. Obviously for people on the West Coast, it's not going to be better. It could be possible that we do it later too. But then I think about people who might be going to work at 9, even if it's at home, they still have to work at 9, so they can't really, be in the chanting. So we'll figure it out. We'll see what happens. Maybe a half hour later, half hour earlier. I don't know. But all right, friends. Yes, Cindy, I'm gonna be back in your home state soon. I'm looking forward to it. 4 months in the city is good. Now it's time to come back to the mountains. All right, friends. Until next time. Until tomorrow. Sukhi Hotu, may you be happy.